It's been a week.
Amouy, reconnais-tu, Amouy, cette mélopée? Connais-tu, Ami, cette épopée? Celle d'une longue marche vers la liberté. Mon imagination me l'a raconté.
Hi everyone, welcome to my channel. My name is Akonefa, and if you haven't already or you're new here, please subscribe. And if you like this video, please like it and leave a comment below. I know this looks a little bit different today. I'm actually in my bedroom. I'm usually in the kitchen making easy recipes that I've been craving this quarantine. But this week has been hard, and it's even harder when you hear the news of another unarmed Black person being murdered in America. Of course, I'm talking about Ahmaud Arbery. Rest in peace. Typically, when things like this happen, I have the privilege of being able to process among people that I trust and that I love. Unfortunately, we're all isolated, so I can't do that. I talk to friends and I've called. But my preferred mode of healing when something like this happens, and it's really unfortunate to say that this happens way too often, but my preferred mode of healing is actually going to an African dance class. When I go to those classes, it's so life-affirming, and it's something about seeing Black bodies moving energetically and powerfully that is just so healing for me and brings back a sense of hope and pride in my culture and identity as a Black woman. But the other day, I was going through my laptop and trying to make space. Ever since I started making videos, it's like I have no space on my laptop. It's crazy. So I was trying to make space, and I found these videos that I had taken between 2012 and 2013 when I was living and working in Gabon. So I was doing a Princeton in Africa fellowship, and what I was doing in Gabon, that is a story for a different time. But I was living and working between Libreville, Gabon and Mouila, Gabon. I was looking through these videos and I came across these Bwiti initiation ceremonies, and I actually had the privilege of attending two while I was working there. Bwiti is a spiritual practice native to the Punu people of Gabon and the Fang of Gabon and Cameroon. And it is actually recognized as an official religion in Gabon. The initiation ceremonies that I attended were for people who wish to become practitioners of Bwiti. Men and women can go through an initiation ceremony. And so the two that I saw were actually a male initiation ceremony and a female initiation ceremony. And the ceremonies last up to several days. I wasn't there for all of those days. But it is also done with the aid of a psychedelic plant called the iboga plant. When I was in Gabon, it was always referred to as le bois sacré. I tried some while I was there. Not enough for me to be like, what? I tried a tiny piece, and all I remember is that it was very, very bitter. But people going through this initiation take a lot more of it, enough for them to hallucinate. And the whole idea, if you've heard of ayahuasca, it is considered not like a recreational drug whatsoever. It is regarded with a lot of respect. And the whole idea of taking le bois sacré or iboga is to experience a spiritual journey within, to be initiated into Bwiti. But much like ayahuasca, there is a shaman. In Gabon, they call it nganga. I hope I'm pronouncing that correctly. They are wise. They've been through the ceremony before. They've been practicing Bwiti for a long time, and they usher you through this ceremony. And it was just such... I'm like getting emotional. It was really, really nice to happen upon those videos again. Obviously, I'm like cooped up inside, and so it's just really nice to see videos of the great outdoors. I'm getting emotional because I didn't think that would happen. Because While I was in Gabon, I knew that I was witnessing something so special. It was just so beautiful. Okay, let me back up for a second. The work I was doing allowed me to work with a social communicator. Her name was Nina. She's Gabonese. She took me to the initiation ceremonies and I communicated that I wanted to film, so I had permission. I remember specifically for the male one, that was like an all-night affair. They spent several days in the forest, in nature, under the influence of iboga. Well, we probably got to the village maybe like at 11 p.m. or midnight. Maybe it was earlier than that, but it just gets mad dark in the village. So it was probably earlier than that. And we were just sitting outside waiting. There were some people preparing the like common area. And I kept asking Nina, like, where are they? And she was like, ils sont encore dans la forêt. Ils sont encore dans la forêt, or something like that. My French is so bad now. But basically that they're still in the forest. They're still in the forest. They haven't emerged yet. And so we were there waiting all through the night. And then finally they came out, they had emerged, and it was dawn, and they were dancing. The men had come back, and it was just like a huge celebration. They had endured so much of going through. It was like their own little three-day hero's journey, where they had gone within under the influence of iboga or le bois sacré. Now they had been initiated into Bwiti. Everyone is happy for them and everyone's excited and everybody's dancing and all the little kids are dancing. And I was getting emotional because it was just such a moment of freedom, of people moving freely, of people celebrating their own spirituality, of people singing in their own language, being with their own families, continuing on this tradition of being initiated, and just watching all of that back was so powerful for me. So many years later, like while I was recording that, first of all, I was just in a daze. I was tired. I can't even imagine how tired they were. But I didn't think to ask any questions. I was just recording. I was there. I wasn't working. I was just experiencing something. And there's so many questions that I wish I had asked. Like there's a moment where they're feeding or giving and like as they're dancing, they're giving them something to eat or to ingest. I wish I had asked, like, what is that? Or even with the music, I wish I had asked, like, what are they singing? What instruments are they playing? So I didn't even think to ask all these questions, but now I have all these questions. And even though, like, the effects of the West, colonialism, white supremacy are so pervasive in so many different communities, it just felt really nice to see something with just Black people living fully. And made me wonder if like one day some pharmaceutical company will tout iboga as like a super plant and it can cure all these things. And I mean, people do use iboga for like addictions and to get over anxiety or whatever. It made me wonder if one day like iboga would become FDA approved and it would be super hard to access or very, very expensive. It just felt really nice to see Black people celebrating, healing, getting in touch with themselves without the approval of Western science and just tapping into our own wisdom. And that is something that my soul needed to see this week. And I didn't really feel like sharing a recipe this week, but I did want to share some of this footage that I'd taken. I know that these aren't Americans. I know that they live in a different part of the world and their society and their circumstances are very different than ours here in America. I know it's not the same, but I just thought maybe someone else would want to see this footage. And I hope when all of this is over, I would love Oh, I would love to go back to Gabon and maybe go through an initiation ceremony of my own. My mom is screaming right now. Anyway, I hope you all are staying safe. I will be back with another recipe, one that I'm really excited about actually. But I just needed to take a break. Reminding myself of my Black identity always does wonders for me. Even though it's not my own culture, it's Gabonese culture, but they are my brothers and sisters in another African country. As we know, Africa and the diaspora is strong. The bonds between us are strong. So reminding myself of our culture in any way always does wonders for my soul. And that's what I wanted to share this week. So I'll be back. Bye.